Hello,
Hello, James.
it's Nick.
How's it, Nick?
Yeah, how you?
I'm good, and you?
All right, got a cup of tea. I'm on my sofa. Can't really
Cup of
complain.
tea is good. Cup of tea is good.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Oh,
I need to
man.
change my camera.
How many cups of tea do you have a day?
I'm more of a coffee person,
I see.
and
Good.
I have to stop the amounts of coffee I'm having now. It's like 3 or 4 a day. Caffeine doesn't bother me, but what it does do is it suppresses my appetite, and then I don't eat.
Okay.
I get skinnier than what I'm already am, and then I get complaints about being skinny. It's just
Oh,
a
really?
horrible spiral from
I
coffee that
see.
just happens.
Well, the thing is, you have to die from something, so might as well be coffee or
True.
caffeine, you know? So
Yeah, I mean, you do need
if
to
it's not
give back
smoking
your
on
body
the
at
road,
some point. Might as well be
that's the
with the
best thing.
coffee.
Yeah, but it's
Charlie,
fine. I
can
mean,
you hear
each is
us?
going. Come again?
I'm just waiting. I know Charlie's on the call, but I don't know if
Okay.
he can hear us. Let me just message him quick.
Cool, cool.
If not, oh, there we go. Cool. So, well, it's 4 of us. There we go. I think that's all of us. Unmute all. I think that works. We have Jenica. We have Wayne. It is Wayne. That is how you say it, right? Is
Vian.
that how you say it? What?
Vian. Yeah.
Vian.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Vian. I
Yes.
don't want to put on an accent when doing it because then I sound like I'm taking a piss.
Nah, no problem at all. It's all good.
Vian.
There we go.
Cool. So I think it's just going to be us three, Charlie, Yanika, and Vian.
There we
Um,
go.
I just wanted to have this call because I've put this kind of I did a call out to start this community about a month and a half ago, and it's kind of built around the content that I'm creating on LinkedIn and YouTube right now. I've just been guessing what people have needed or wanted, or like, and I want to I want it to actually be a community instead of me just saying, here, look at this, look at that. So it'd be good to hear from people to find out like what kind of stuff do you guys want to see? What can I help with, and what can you guys help with, and how can we actually make it a community? That's a cat that just crossed the front of my screen now. It's pissed.
Yeah, I'm
This pissed.
happy to chime in.
Cool. Let me know.
So for me, as a fresh starter to Python, like I'm brand new to it, I reckon something that I see a lot of course creators and other people potentially miss is giving a broad overview of what you can actually accomplish with Python. Like if you're a marketer, I mean, a lot of the times they just start, this is the setup and installation of the software, and these are the typical syntax. And then you just ramble through all these different ways to write Python
Hmm.
without getting a good overview of what is a good output of Python, like what makes it usable. So I think that is quite neat. If people can include that more often,
Mhm.
almost like, hey, this is what you get build. Now let's dig in, as opposed to let's dig in, and then the end result is this is what you get. So almost flip it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So this is something that I've realised recently that I don't really explain. I don't explain myself particularly well at all, ever. I just presume that somebody else is that like people understand what we're up to. Wait a minute, who's bashing dishes about? Right, I've put that on mute. It's like there's somebody making dinner. So yeah, I agree with that. I think maybe a series of like why you would use Python, why would you switch over? Like I know intuitively why I wanted to do it, and the why I came to Python was I just couldn't. I was doing a lot of Facebook ad stuff at the time. And we were getting like absolutely rinsed by Facebook because they were only giving us cost per install at hourly intervals, and the price was changing like minute by minute pretty much. So I was like, we need to get access to that API, and I have to learn Python to do it. So that was my why. But I think it'd be good for me to kind of just go around the houses of like all the marketing channels, because I know the reason for all the marketing channels and why everybody should start using this. That's why the course was always Python for marketing and not Python for SEO. As much as like search is in my bones and I use this for search, I think every person who's a channel marketer in marketing should be using Python in the next year and a half.
Absolutely, you're nailing it, because I mean, if you look at pain points of marketers, so if you wanted to convert me as a non-coding marketer and go, how can I get this guy to actually start Python? You're 100% correct when you say, look at the pain points and challenges. And the first thing is to look at how people slice and dice Google Search Console, analytics. Like I myself, I still export CSVs, raw data from Search Console. I do VLOOKUPs in Excel, and I try to spit and cut a lot of crap just to make sense of what I'm seeing. And then if I want to scale that, it's impossible, because now I need to redo all those VLOOKUPs and make tweaks, and you make errors, you make mistakes as you do that. So that's, I mean, if you just go around the room, and ask people that, they will tell you the first thing is that's a problem. But if you can show me 5 ways of how to better utilize Search Console data through the API using Python, you've got me solved. Like I'll be like, shit, that is a challenge I'm trying to solve. If Python's going to be the answer, I'll start it. I'll start it immediately, because I'm struggling to do my job. So definitely something like that. Definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, so I've got a couple of notebooks. I use the API for Search Console just now, and I find it like infinitely better. And I'm not holding on to that information just now. I'm just making sure that I understand what I'm doing with it when I'm doing it, so I can then show people it. Also, I'm playing around a lot with the Google Analytics API, because that is so much better. Like, dude, it is pulling data through a CSV from Google Analytics is a shit show. It's so annoying, right? And I've just been messing around with the API quite a bit this week, and it's just like, just makes life so much happier. I'm not like having to figure out where the file starts and ends because it's a CSV and stuff like that. So like once I'm like comfortable with the variables that we call in with the APIs, I'll do a video on that to show everybody it. The one thing that I really would love to do tutorials around is AdWords API, but I cannot get API access properly because you need to jump through a whole bunch of loops, and I basically don't make the criteria to get API access.
Oh, interesting.
So if anybody has API access and has a contact at Apple that gives out, not Apple, Google, that give out API keys, then I would love to speak to them, because it's building the API for AdWords is a bit tricky and a bit of a pain in the ass, but it can be learned. But actually just getting an API token is the hardest thing.
I see. Interesting.
Because you need to fill out a form and go through a process. So it's a bit of a pain. But yeah, so I think if we can get Google Analytics and Google Search Console together in a couple of video tutorials, after I've done some like explainers of why you would spend like hours and hours a week crying in front of your computer because something won't work in Python. This is why you're going through the pain. I'll do a few of those videos because I think they're important. And in the past, I'm really aware that I haven't explained myself properly. and what like it's because I've been doing this for 4 years now, and I never understood why other people wouldn't. And it's because I never explained myself ever.
I hear what you're saying. And another thing is, if I had to add to, so from a marketing perspective, it's very difficult to take a mind shift from marketing stuff to coding stuff. So something I came across a while ago is, I don't know if you've seen code analogies. So here's a good example of that, right? So this guy has been using analogies to explain code. And this is how he explains a JavaScript function, how to make a sandwich.
Oh,
So it's
that's
illustrative.
magic.
So I go in there and I learn how to make a sandwich, but through code. And I go, okay, if you add lettuce and if you add ham and if you add cheese and you want to make another sandwich, you basically just loop through that function to make 70 sandwiches for a workforce of 70 people. Then you get the idea of coding. Like, okay, instead of making 70 individual sandwiches, you can just loop through them like a robot and make 17 2 minutes for 50 people. I mean, that explains it a lot. Stuff like that, almost spoon feeding, but it helps. It helps a lot to get the context of it, you know, as a non-coder. It does.
Yeah, that's a great site. I'm going to go through that because it would even help me explain things better sometimes. It's good to have an analogy. That's really cool. That's probably going to be one of my new favorite resources. Do you want to post that in the channel?
I'm happy to, yes.
Yeah, post that in the channel. Put it in chat or something like that. It's a good place to kind of stick things. But sure. Yeah, that's cool. So what I'm getting is I need to explain myself better. Explain why we should do this, and then I want to try and make it easier so you guys can get practicing on your own using APIs. I mean, it is important to know how to open CSVs, and it's good to know that because you won't always get API access. But having API is good, and yeah, it needs a bit of explaining, and I've did it a couple of times now. But the annoying thing about the Google APIs is Google Analytics is different from Search Console, and it's different from AdWords. So there are literally 3 different API integrations of which you need to do different steps to get them to work. So I apologize on behalf of Google and their weird.
And I think the other thing is also, another thing that also helps a lot is if you can create some comparison chart where you say your current way, so doing it manually through CSV export import and using Excel versus using Data Studio and what that looks like, what's the limitations and pros and cons there, versus Python. Because a lot of the times I go, why should I do this? I can do it through Data Studio. Everyone knows Data Studio. I can get any of my team members to edit and tweak a Data Studio thing. But if I build something out in Python, they're never going to be able to tweak it. So why should I go over to Python? So almost seeking that your way versus the better way. And then that's also, you know, sketch it in a very good way.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it as well. Because I struggle with the data ownership aspect of Python because it's difficult to then take what I've did, because maybe I've created a couple of custom data sets. And I don't, like, I see it, because I'm a consultant, I see it as like, that is my client's data that I'm just acting upon. And I want them to be able to have it and look at it themselves. But I do struggle with, like, right, I've built this cool set. How do I give it to you in a way that's better than Excel or better than Sheets? And so far, I actually haven't figured out a solution to do the data ownership aspect of it. I've got a feeling it's going to have to be like cloud storage, because I've killed Google Sheets on a couple of occasions. But yeah, I do. I think maybe showing how those tools can work with Python in a way that then you can share that data is probably a good thing as well. I did a video. It's on the YouTube channel. That's like, how do you use BigQuery with Python? So like, Python's a really good middleware tool, almost like it can access everything, and you only need to learn one language. So maybe like, yeah, pull those things together. But yeah, I totally agree. I think the channel's been running for like 3 years. Over the past 3 years, it's like showing examples of use cases has just not been a strong point. It's always been like, let's jump in and do this. Whereas I forget that, I think it's maybe because I've worked myself for so long that I forget that you need to get buy-in from everybody. And like, if you're working in an organization and you're going to spend 3 hours a day learning Python, or like 10 hours a week on their time, we're going to have to be able to explain to our boss why we're doing that and what the benefit for the business is.
Exactly. Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Love it, love
All
it.
right. I've got lots of ideas to go work on. Does anyone else, because there's a couple other people on the call, but does anyone else in the call have anything that they'd like to chat about or message me? Or I don't think so.
Can I become unmuted? Sorry, I was actually cooking. I was on.
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, what I did is I unmuted everybody, which I shouldn't have did.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I muted myself because I knew there was sound, and then I was like, no, host wants you to be unmuted. I'm like, okay then. It's up to you. Yeah. I guess like I from myself, I work in a big organization, and I'm the only one who's pushing for automation of any and all kind of data. And I think like one of the things, it kind of goes to like why Python, but why should I do stuff in Python if I could do it in JavaScript or another language? That's what I've been asked as to why should we get a Python developer to do things and to build, because I have a very grand design of building a whole like data warehouse of any and all SEO data. And yeah, like hearing maybe if there is more like regarding data analytics, maybe data engineering, that kind of stuff, as to why Python, so I could have a little bit more of a firepower, because I do have to get a buy-in of where I spent the money, but I also like I want to work on a massive scale of like with 2,000 sites.
I think so when people, and I'm like, I am no like developer, I'm a marketing guy who can code. It's like I'm really different. But when I had to make the choice at one point between R and Python, and I picked, and in that scenario, I picked Python because there seemed to be more resources out there that supported you if you had a problem. So like Stack Overflow is full of tutorials and help if something goes wrong. So you can pretty much find an answer to everything. Another benefit, I think, to Python versus JavaScript is the amount of machine learning and deep learning libraries coming from the big three that are built in Python and supported mostly in Python suggests to me that Python isn't going anywhere. It's highly supported, and it'll be a lot easier to find resource and developers and replace those resources and developers if the time comes, rather than like using JavaScript. I know that there are people out there who do machine learning and deep learning in JavaScript, but I know they're also very few and far between and difficult to find. So if you think about it from has anybody ever heard of like bus theory? How many people in your team need to get hit with a bus before development stops? I reckon if you've got a JavaScript person like building like machine learning libraries, and I might get shot for saying this, but I reckon you will only find a few of those people, and to replace them, if that guy gets hit with a bus, to replace that person is going to be really hard. But if you've got somebody who's coding in Python, if they get hit by a bus, it's much easier to find a Python developer who can do machine learning.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it makes sense, but it's because I knew R from before, and then switching over to Python seemed like relatively straightforward. It reminds me, I find a lot of similarities between the two. Like when I first started to just read up more about Python itself.
Cool. Was what I said helpful, or was it just like?
No, it's definitely is helpful. Like just getting a different, like for example, there is a lot more support, and in general in data science, a lot of innovation is happening within Python, using Python itself.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's going to be supported for a really long time. And there's, I mean, there are other languages coming out like Go and stuff like that people are saying might replace Python. But I think the traction and the accessibility of Python and the support, it's just like it has everything it needs to just keep going the way it is, and keep growing for the next. I think it's now the second biggest language on, is it on GitHub? I think it's the second biggest language on GitHub after JavaScript, I think. So yeah, I can't think of reasons not to use Python, but I bet you a developer that supports another language can.
Fairly certain there's a, I had to interview a developer, and I'm like, I'm not a developer myself. I'm tech SEO. And he was asking, it's like, why Python? Why are you doing it Python? Why not in JavaScript? And I'm just like, well, hi, developer. If you think it's better, maybe, but we're going to do Python because it seems more intuitive in a sense, easier to pick up.
It's just so many pre-trained libraries and everything. It's just there's so much out there that you can do out of the box with Python, where there's other languages. It's like JavaScript. I know it can do stuff, but it's really hard to find people that are doing it and supporting it. So I'm part of this project called OpenMind, and if anybody is really into privacy and security and AI, like check out this project, because all of the big tech companies are involved in it, not officially, but they're all involved in some way or another. And they're trying to build a layer of doing like encrypted metadata deep learning using JavaScript in the browser. But they are finding it so hard to find anybody that can help support the guy that's in charge of that project. So it's just like JavaScript's a nice idea, but it's not really doable right now until everybody else starts getting on board with it.
Okay, found it.
Yeah, OpenMind is my favorite project ever in the world. I think it will literally change the face of humanity. That's how much I love it and believe it. I'm just like, this is happening. This will unleash deep learning at a scale that we've never had before. But we have to solve privacy first, and I think this solves privacy. So if you're really into privacy like I am, check out the OpenMind. It's amazing. It's got such an amazing group of people behind it. So we are 1 minute away from like the end of the call. Does anyone just want to say anything else, chat about anything before we kind of wrap things up?
Have you met Hamlet Batista? Is he
I did not.
Is he one of the sharpest guys when it comes to Python, or who's like super sharp?
I don't know. I've never actually met him. So like something about me that this community, being in this community and trying to organize this community might not reflect is I'm a really difficult person to find in flesh. I don't go to conferences. I don't leave the house. Like you'll see on Twitter, like my friends will joke with me on Twitter about it. It's like I ran the course at Brighton and then went out for dinner with a couple of friends. I went to Brighton SEO for an hour and then went home, and I missed everybody because I'm sociable and friendly. I'm just not really into like big conferences and stuff like that. So like I am so hard to get hold of.
Monica, you two are focused on technical SEO, right? Or you also an SEO for the most part?
No, I'm highly specialized in technical SEO. So now I'm like, I kind of got a little bit sick of regular tech SEO. So now I'm pushing for automating and building a data warehouse for SEO data. And I have like almost a buy-in from the higher ups to do it for 2020. So now I'm just like getting super into trying to find okay, what should I do? Because I have access to 2,000 sites. So what can I do with all of that data, and how can I connect it together? So I feel like I'm in a very sort of privileged position because I have such an amount of data that I can work with. And now it's a question of like, okay, how do I do it? And how do I connect all that massive amounts of data together in a way that makes sense?
Sure. Interesting.
That's cool.
Okay.
I am dabbling with similar stuff. I just don't have access to the same scale. We should maybe chat offline about this.
Yeah, it's just
I'm playing around with stuff. I'm also like, I'm a huge fan of NLP, and I always have been. Like, I just love it. I just think it's the coolest stuff. I know it doesn't really work a lot of the time, but we've built some topic modeling tools in the moment that I think will help people like kind of handle how Google interprets a page, and we're looking at doing just some other cool stuff. On you go. What were you saying?
No, I was like, that's all the rage in the company right now. Everyone's like, oh my god, we gotta use the NLP API and do entities and stuff, and I'm like, sure. What else? Like, how do you actually make it work for you?
Yeah, it's tricky to make it actionable. But it can be useful. It can be useful. It depends what your job is. If you're a technical SEO, it's less actionable for you because you don't create the content. But if you're a content creator, there's ways that you can slice the information you can get back that makes it really helpful to a content creator.
Yeah,
I'm going down with it.
That's what I'm essentially focusing right now, is building custom tools for the people who work with SEO. So I told my manager as well, like, I'm expanding what tech SEO is. It also means tools for processes or automating processes that you have to do with an SEO, because the general tech SEO is kind of like, been there, done that. Now I want another challenge.
Yeah, and we've got the data to do it as well, so we just need to stretch ourselves. It's just about having that ambition of trying to make something that nobody's made before that will be useful to you and your business.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we're 3 minutes after. Thanks for showing up, guys. It's nice to chat to people. As I said, I'm a hermit. Don't leave the house. It's quite nice to speak to other people. This chat will go up somewhere. I'm recording it, so I'll post it somewhere. But yeah, it was great chatting to you, and we'll do this again maybe in a month's time or like 6 weeks' time or something like that. Just kind of keep build up the momentum and get more people involved. But for now, this was great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for hosting it.
Thank you too.
I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.